Hi, my name is Molly Rosensweet, and this is my piece Dysmorphia Monsters. As my chilly, winter-bitten fingers attempt to type out an inspirational story of all the phenomenally functional ways I put myself into a positive mindset every day, it feels as though I'm lying. I so dearly wish I could honestly begin to write about how I wake up every morning ready to tackle the day, but that would be a lie. The truth is, every morning I wake up and fight the same seemingly endless battle: breakfast. The most important meal of the day, supposed to be a comfort consumed every morning, seems nearly impossible for someone whose life has been so deeply ingrained with diet culture's twisted perception of a woman's body that has forced them into disordered eating so overwhelming that they have a genuine fear of pancakes. My whole honest truth, as much as I would love for it to be a hearty bowl of oatmeal and a slice of tempeh bacon, is actually that I wake up every morning tired and scared. Or more accurately, tired of being so scared. Scared of my body, scared of my mirror, scared of food. My truth has never been that I feel hopeless or that I do not love life, but more that getting into a positive mindset often takes more effort and discomfort than I would prefer it did. But with disordered eating considered, I have always dearly loved my life and the people in it. And for this reason, I have made it a priority to heal and to put myself into the positive mindset we all hope to feel in our lives. Although every day is a process and I am far from perfect, I have learned that the best way to pull myself away from the fear and discomfort is not to pull away at all. I feel my mindset shift the most drastically in the times that rather than telling myself, pick yourself up, you'll never get anything done like this, or wow, your body image really makes you useless, huh? I instead pause. I pause to recognize the discomfort, and more importantly, what sort of feelings are underneath it. It is okay to move slowly today, I will repeat to myself. Take your time. I hear my best friend's words echo throughout my now quieting mind. You are the kind of person that takes care of yourself, even when you do not want to. I have found that by allowing myself to feel the fear, discomfort, and anger that arise in myself or towards my body, it makes it far easier to then let myself move on. When I feel the body dysmorphia monsters move past, or at least shut up and sit down for a minute, and I am then able to surround myself with the beautiful things that help me move past neutral and into a positive mindset. Soft meditation, patchouli candles, green tea, and if I'm lucky, even some avocado toast. These are the things that I do and set up to remind myself that I am okay, I am worth loving, and that I can make today a good day, even when it begins to feel endlessly uphill. Thank you so much. Since writing this, I am so much happier, so much healthier. So thank you for listening and for this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Isabella Field, and today I will be reading you my piece on the Rhapsodist titled Silverton. The car hums quietly, carrying you through the rising mountain roads. Elton John plays softly as you gaze out the window, watching the mountains climb higher and higher with each mile. You crack your window and breathe in the familiar smell of the air. You're coming home. Your father's hand rests strong on the wheel, steering the car into the heart of Colorado until you are riding the side of a mountain. All around you the Rockies stand like great guardians to this country, watching the tiny car's procession into the heart of the mountains. They tower above you, dark evergreens rolling up the base of sharp white peaks that cut the cold blue sky. Their power and beauty overwhelm you, press down on you, commanding respect, radiating glory. You worship them, your soul submits to their power and cries out in awe at the everlasting strength of the mountains. The car winds down the spine of the mountain and rolls into town down Main Street, the only paved road in town. On either side of you, old wooden buildings line up shoulder to shoulder, the memories of each one swirling in your mind. Smedley's, the ice cream parlor you used to stop at after hiking the Highland Mary Trail nearby. The Orange Crate, a gift shop you used to spend hours in staring at the beautiful painted horses. Handlebars, an old mountain restaurant decorated head to toe with road signs, badges, and flashing lights. All these places strike their own unique chord in your heart, blending together to create a beautiful melody of times past. Such is the nature of Silverton. This is a place where the songs of the past echo softly off the stony walls of the mountains, flowing into your ear and reminding you of the things in life that are real, that matter. You breathe in this song through the thin air. You feel the melody and the chilly wind off the mountains. It brushes the dust and the grime from your heart and sweeps back the blinders from your eyes. You are alive. Oh, finally you are alive. But now it is time to go inside. Night is falling. The light glows orange across the face of Kendall Mountain. One by one the stars twinkle to life, dusting the dark blue sky in 1,000 pinpricks of diamond light. The owl flutters soundlessly. The coyote rustles through the trees. The mountain wind grows cold and brushes your skin, beckoning you to retire to the safety and warmth of the house. You step into the assay house, the place you have called home for generations. As you open the door, a small bell tinkles softly. A blue heeler trots up to you, tail wagging in excitement as it brushes its soft head against your hand. The house itself is tiny, with only one floor crowded with antiques and quilting supplies. Coming towards you from the tiny kitchen just a few steps away, Grandma makes her way toward you, bearing a smile of pure joy adorned by a head of wild silvery hair. She welcomes you into her warm embrace, holding you tight to her chest. The smell of her perfume contains 1,000 treasured memories that waft gently around you, bringing a smile across your face and brimming your eyes with tears. She smiles at you once more, shining like summer rain on the mountainside. Let's play poker, she laughs as she beckons you to the dining table. You squeeze yourself around the table with the rest of your family, the room filling with laughter as the game begins. While the joy of family swirls in the air, your eyes wander across the hundreds of photos that cover the walls of the house. These pictures recount the past 20 years of life in Silverton, with images such as your father, looking so young as he casts his fly line out over the glassy waters of Mollis Lake, and your sister when she was a baby, her round face adorned with sunglasses, squatting in her stroller with hilarious swagger. You smile as your heart swells with tremendous love for the family that surrounds you now. Yet the joy cannot last forever, and your time in this awesome country must come to an end. You wake up before dawn, the stars still faintly shining in the deep blue sky. The air is freezing. It burns your throat as you inhale your last breaths of Silverton. The mountains are dark, still, and deathly quiet. As the car makes its way back up the mountain road and away from your home, you feel the coldness of the mountains seep its way into your heart. You think of all the time that will come to pass, when there will be faces missing from the poker table, when the pictures on the wall will decay and fade into the past, when memories of Silverton will be filled with a chill and the song of the mountains with a deep, pained groan. Outside of the car the mountains stand tall, steadfast in their place, constant through all time. They stand guard to your thoughts. They watch over your joy and your pain, freedom and loss, death and life. Every year you will return, and every year something will change in the little town of Silverton. New faces will appear, old ones will be lost. New memories will be made, and past memories will ache. The song of the town will roar brazen with hope and whisper exhausted with devastation. And all the while the mountains will stand guard, unmoving, unchanging, unrelenting. They watch life spring up and death tear down. They live through bitter snow and brutal sun. They gaze upon blazing fire and pouring rain. Yet through it all they stand, powerful, steadfast, strong. For all time before and all time to come, the mountains will stand, guardians of this aching, soaring, beautiful song of life.
Hello, I'm Adam Coulter, and the piece of my writing that was selected for the 2021 edition of Rhapsodist is called Oranges. North Carolina, 1936. Martha pierced the needle and thread through the fabric in her lap, pulled the stitch tight, then repeated. The stitches, like her life, turned into a long line of nothing but the same. From atop the front porch steps she worked on her sewing as the daylight brightened in the rising sun. In front of her, Mount Pisgah, high on the horizon, stood surrounded by fog and ridges of the Appalachians. Her eyes were blue and matched her simple dress. Behind her, the screen door opened and out came Ed, smiling, dressed in clean work clothes. He carried a plate of orange slices in his hands. I could enjoy this view forever, she said. Me too, he winked, keeping his eyes on her until she grew self-conscious. He sat next to her and shared the orange. She put her sewing down. Oh, I haven't had one of these in forever. Where did you get it? She asked. Mr. Whitsett had some at the store. Said they were from California. Ed ate the pulp from one of the slices, then lined his teeth with the peel and flashed an orange slice smile at Martha. She laughed and made her own orange slice smile, and the two giggled like young people in love. We should go there sometime, Ed said, turning serious. California. We can pick oranges and walk on the beach, feel the sand on our bare feet, and then we'll see the Golden Gate Bridge. And the giant redwoods that everyone talks about, interrupted Martha. She gazed into the distance as if already seeing the trip take place. California, she whispered. They finished the orange in silent thought. She leaned into Ed and he put his arm around her. His aftershave smelled of spruce and leather, and his chambray shirt was soft against her cheek. He kissed her forehead, and she felt loved. "What's stopping us?" he asked, his eyes shining with excitement. Martha thought for a moment. "Not a damn thing," she said, and grabbed her sewing. She rose to her feet, smoothed the front of her dress, and marched inside, letting the screen door slam behind her. Ed laughed, then followed her, leaving the orange peels behind.
Hi, I'm Cora Haas, and today I'll be reading my poem, Corners and Edges. I don't normally write poetry, so this came from being outside of my comfort zone and putting pen and paper to things that are not always easy for me to put to words. Thank you. I'm not really here. I slipped out before, left behind skin and bone, behind physicality. I smile and nod on cue, but I'm not really here. Not really there when my fingers singe, caught, and my blood stings. Not really there when corners catch and edges trace delicate dances over a frail flesh surface. Not really there when my breath catches and sputters and seeps out of me in a crush of lungs, back into desperate inaudible prayer, on loop over and over again until it's patterned in my brain like a tattoo, suffocating, and any thought separate is crushed down in favor of my loop. But I'm not really here. I'm nice and hollow, safe. I feel safe. Even though I'm cracking, and there's blood on my sheets, and I can't remember how it got there, and physically I ache, and I'm suffocating on thoughts I can't rein back, but I'm not really here. Thank you.
Hi everybody, this is Mark Puckett, and I'll be reading from the Twice Gift Piano for the 2021 Rhapsodist. I'm a huge fan of this journal. I've been publishing my art for the last 3 years. Poetry, play, short story, now this essay, and there we go. There's a stack of Rhapsodists right there. Behind me is the famous Twice Gift Piano, which was given from my dad to my mom for Valentine's Day in 1979. And I just thought I would read a little bit from it, the last paragraph, more talk about it, how it came to be written, and play you a few notes of Mozart to finish. In March of 2018, in the beginning of the month, I saw my brother for the last time, and a week later he died at my mom's house up in Virginia. We then had to move our mom back down here to Asheville, and that was April of 18. And then May of 18, I found myself at her house at the lake and having to sell it. And I was by myself with this piano and this book, which I found in her piano bench, How to Play Popular Piano in 10 Easy Lessons by Norman Moneth. And it truly changed me. I now play every day for 5 to 6 hours, but at that time, I still could not fathom chords and the bass clef. So I had 3 months, essentially, to sell the house and play the piano. And I moved it down here in 2018, August, and got it tuned later. Let me read the last paragraph of the Twice Gift Piano. I've been teaching essay writing in college classes since 1992, but whenever I sit down to pen one, I'm not sure I know how. The word essay is from the French essayer, which means to try. And I tried after my brother's death on March 6, 2018, to write about him. I recently reread those pages and found that my attempt had been epistolary and raw. A journal of devastated purging, not something for others to read. But I kept at it, because a conclusion cannot be the same as a thesis. It must move above the initial idea and be something new. Like this piano, an original gift to Mom, later given to me, the conclusion must be a gift of sorts, a final offering that goes to a new place. If you think about it, a gift is a present and a talent. I just hope my brother and my mom know how much I think of them each time I sit down to the keys. I also begin to wonder where this piano will go after I am gone. Now, the piano concerto in C major by Mozart is gorgeous little beginning. You recognize it, and I just could not play in 2018, and now I can. And I have this piano to thank for it. So anyway, I would like to also give my gratitude to the Rhapsodist editors for supporting my work. And one last look at the Toy Skiff piano there. Thanks, folks. See ya.
Hello, my name is Jenna Jaffe. I am an English instructor in the English as a Second Language program in the Department of Transitional Studies at Asheville Buncombe Technical Community College. And I am honored to be able to present this piece of work called The United States of Addiction. And it is a visual representation of the terrible pandemic we have of opioid addiction in this country. I don't want to go into it too much, but I am going to have an opening and let people tell their stories personally about how the opioid addiction has affected their lives and their families' lives. Here's a close-up view. There aren't enough syringes on this flag. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Rich, an adjunct here at AB Tech, and I have a story in this year's Rhapsodist titled The Student Who Almost Killed Me. Well, before I was an adjunct, I taught high school in Western North Carolina, and the story, which did happen, is true. I'll read a little bit of it so you get a feeling. I did change the names for legal reasons and to protect the innocent. But here we go. The last day before winter break is kind of worthless. Any instruction offered will no doubt be forgotten. And any in-class assignments made on the last day will have to be graded over the holiday. So the best a high school English teacher can do is hope to accomplish some sort of non-denominational festivity. And that was the case when I was teaching freshman English at a public school on the last day, when one of my kinder students presented me with a gift. Now, as a rule, I don't accept gifts from students, as that sets a bad precedent of favoritism, and it puts both student and teacher in an awkward situation. However, when a young woman whom I will call Kimberly Jane, not her real name, placed a decorative box on my desk, the beaming look on her face made me reconsider. Want more? Check out the Rhapsodist.
This is a passage from Chippewa Street. Meemaw Helen lived with her sisters, Yulme and Cleo, in the house now condemned and decayed. I worked hard to get away from the decay that sits in me like a rotted tooth. Yulme was so deaf you could sneak up from behind and hit her upside the head with a 2x4 and she'd never noticed it, he'd say. Said she'd lost her husband young in World War II, never had children, never lived much after that, just sat and swatted flies and others' young'uns. What Aunt Yulme lacked in speech, Aunt Cleo more than made up for. Nuttier than a squirrel turd, Daddy'd say. She kept stacks of back-issued magazines and newspapers, hundreds, maybe thousands, piled high. You couldn't walk down a hallway without knocking them down. Mildewed and molded, they choked me each time I entered the house. Once, Aunt Cleo was committed to the highest floor of the hospital. Daddy would visit her. Said she'd been sent there by her sons because she gave too much money to the televangelists and Publishers Clearinghouse. I went on occasion, sat in a lobby 12 by 12 playing First to Blink with a guy with carvings on his forehead and said he was a disciple of Jesus. Once, when Daddy opened the door to leave, the man tried to slip out after the buzzard, told me through the crack to come on in, and that was the last time that I visited Aunt Cleo. Meemaw Helen was the sanest of the three, and that wasn't saying much. Once, when Mama was desperate for help after being called in for a last-minute shift, she left my brother at Meemaw's house to be tended to. She came back several hours later to see my brother, a toddler at the time, lying on a bathroom floor surrounded by empty medicine bottles. Candy, Meemaw called them. So my brother, a dimwit himself, aside from age, ate as much candy as he could, had his stomach pumped with charcoal. Other days, Meemaw taught my brother to spit in light sockets. You like fireworks, she'd say, and my brother, the dope he was, would watch her spit into light sockets and then do the same. Those three old women kept only cat food and goody powders in their refrigerator, and the skin melted from their frail frames like the wax from a candle. The only somewhat edible thing in that old house was hard ribbon candy clumped together on a crystal candy tray covered in dust and cat hair. Sometimes Meemaw would keep butterscotch in the pocket of her housecoat. Save it for the children visiting, away from those nasty old guineas, she'd say. The smell of butterscotch rooted in her clothes like the dip she'd chew, lumps of sweet tobacco she held in the corner of her bottom lip. We picked up Uncle Johnny from the bus station on Chippewa after he found out he'd gotten cirrhosis of the liver. Mama said you could wring him out and alcohol would drip and pool like the water from a soaked rag. When he came home to stay with me, Ma, I felt like I should bring him something, a welcome home gift of some sort. So from my mama's bookshelf, I took a book from the Encyclopedia Britannica supplements, a book on cowboys. It seemed fitting. I'd never met Uncle Johnny, but had heard stories of his lawlessness and violence. Daddy asked him how he was as soon as we met, noticing the frailness of his frame, the yellowness of his skin and his eyes. Sober, broke, and disgusted, he said. I used those old magazines and newspapers to make collages and dioramas, cut out advertisements of cigarettes and alcohol, and drew red circles with lines through their images to get Uncle Johnny to stop smoking and drinking. I handed him get well cards of folded construction paper and doilied hearts, to which he'd say fuck off and hand them back. It didn't seem worth the trouble, I thought, or the 6 licks that Mama made me take from the switch for cutting up her book. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellen Perry. I teach in the Humanities Department at AB Tech. I appreciate the Rhapsodist staff so much, Eric and the team, for inviting us to read today. Can't wait to hear the other readers. I'm going to share with y'all a short work of creative nonfiction called Last Chance. Lots of folks in the South look for signs from Jesus. They might open the Bible at a random place to find the answers or see hope in a rainbow. I take note of signs along our roads. Billboards, advertisements, handmade posters, store names, church admonishments, and write about them. Here in our region, there is no shortage of such signs and thus good writing material. Divorce, $189, fast and affordable. Milk, bread, soft drinks. Small town throwdown. Church pew for sale. My favorite, body piercing, permanent makeup, and fine jewelry. Dead end. A few summers ago, I was traveling from South Carolina to my home here in the mountains when I noticed 2 signs in particular. Peaches, I'm going to show you the picture I took here. Peaches and Last Chance. When I stopped at the roadside stand to buy some peaches, I reflected, as English teachers do, both on the choice of punctuation and the various meanings of the phrase last chance. In this case, the sign was, I supposed at first glance, to be read literally. You don't stop here, lady, you'll cross the North Carolina state line and won't get another opportunity to buy these delicious golden treasures soaked in the southern sun. Yet there are many other ways to interpret last chance. As I breathed in the sweet scent of the peaches, arranged nicely in a woven basket, just like the one that my parents' neighbors use as a manger for baby Jesus in their nativity scene, I wondered about chances, opportunities, invitations. How many do we get before we hit a metaphorical state line or some sort of dead end? Thank you.
My name is Bronwyn McCormick, and I'm an instructor in the Culinary Arts and Hospitality program. I started drawing a number of years ago as a way to incorporate a creative practice into my daily life. I took several drawing classes through continuing education at AB Tech and came to a point where there were no more drawing classes left, so I took a watercolor class. And that opened up a whole new world, and I absolutely fell in love with the watercolor medium. I've been painting watercolor for about 4 years now. I paint mostly landscapes, images of our beautiful mountain area, and there is absolutely no shortage of inspiration. When you drive or walk up to the Ferniehurst parking lot, this is the view that you see. And in my opinion, it's one of the most gorgeous views in town. This particular view has been really important to me this year. Our programs have been on campus since August. It's a view that I see every day when I come to campus and every day when I leave. As we entered the fall semesters with so many unknowns with the pandemic, there were mornings that I would walk out to the parking lot and look at this view and these mountains, take a deep breath, and give myself some fortitude for the day ahead. We didn't know what would happen with the virus, how long we might be able to stay in school, if we would shut down again. And each day when I left campus, I would, and still do, purposely drive by this view, take another deep breath, and begin to transition from work to home. The good news is that we made it through the whole school year on campus, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to work with students and colleagues face to face this year. I know that AB Tech has the best students and the best views around. I'm honored to be included in this year's Rhapsodist Journal. I encourage you to walk up or drive up to the Ferniehurst parking lot and stop and enjoy this view.